Oh, here we go. Hold on. Adjusting. Tweaking. Oh, let's see. Oh. Spring is not sprung yet. Almost. It's really windy out all day. Well, half the day. Just grabbing a snack. After the last snack I had. Apple. All right, it's 8:30. That's when the show starts. Right on time. Hey, Johnny. So we got Manitoba all the way down to Alabama. In the house. Stand by. We got to do the warning.
Warning. Arch's Garage Live is not suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion advised.
All right, everyone. So it's Friday night. I'm getting ready to go out. This is the look. I'm feeling kind. But before I go out,
That's
I
for
gotta
you, Ken.
pregame. And the only way I pregame is with an ice cold Bud Light. So good.
That's for you and you Yukon. All right, pre-gaming. Are you pre-gaming, Ken? With Bama? The O? Big O? So good. Yeah, pre-game. I don't know. Isn't that weird? That's weird. That's weird stuff. Kenny goes, day one. Oh, I'm going to barf. Right, day one. Oh, there you go. I don't know. I don't pay attention to anything like that anymore. I'm so done. Right. I don't know what university is better, and college and high schools, at least there's none of that weird crap going on at halftime. I'm not interested in your Satanist displays of nonsense. I would just walk out at halftime, go out in the parking lot, do the parking lot thing, and come back. Right? You should get everybody to do that. Let's see, we got everybody in the house here tonight, all the way up from Manitoba. Mark's here. And 32 degrees. Yeah, it was beautiful today, and then it got lousy, and then it got really windy, and now it got cold. The wind is making it feel more cold. And last night there's Mike. Mike's here. Big Mike's here. He goes, I'm in, fellas. Says, hey, everybody. And it's like I did a little bit of painting, and I'm like, I was going to paint outside yesterday, and I was out there cleaning the part, which I'll show you some of it. And I was like, I'll clean it out here, but the day did not develop into a nice day. And I'm like, I just don't trust it. This time of year, I don't trust it. So I brought it in, finished up, started painting. But when I got done painting, it got a little late. And I'm like, I don't know if I want to do any more. And as soon as I pretty much shut the garage door and, because I had done all my cleaning outside, make the mess outside whenever possible, the fog rolled in, which is not good for painting. And you could tell, too, because, like, in my paint gun, I use, even with, like, oil base, I'll use, like, mineral spirits and a little bit of lacquer thinner. And I actually made a mention of it, if it makes it in the video. You got to watch out with lacquer thinner because it's got alcohol in it and some toluene and some other stuff. if the water vapor or water pressure, kind of humidity goes up a little too much, it'll curdle inside the gun, or even in your can. It'll craze. It'll curdle, right? It pulls water in from the atmosphere. So, yeah, when I went over to clean the gun out, I'm like, oh, it's pulling it in. I'm glad I didn't continue to paint. This time of year, everything is iffy. Look, we're coming into a rainy season up here, so that's making the grass get green. I got to get outside this week. I'm going to finish up on the project that I'm working on for myself and for Big Mike, which I'll show you in a minute. And then contractor Mike dropped off his right stander. You guys have seen a little bit of that. I never put a video out on it, but I will. So it needs a bunch of work now, plus some welding. I tested out my stick welder this week, which was a lot of fun. I'll show you a little bit of that. That'll be a video coming out at some point in the near future, along with a video on the welder that I bought, because I've had it now for, I don't know, almost a year or whatever. I've tried out. You guys have seen a little bit of me fooling around with it. TIG and now I got a chance to try out I used the cutter a bunch of times, and now I got a chance to try out the stick welder. So she runs good. So that'd be kind of like an evaluation. I bought it. It was a machine that I could afford, and multi-process welding, and I was able to kind of pull a little bit of money together for that. I really needed it. Of course, I would like something even better, but we can't have everything. I just want to see how you fellows are doing. So I'm here, Mark's here, Ken's here, Blarney's here, Ken's here again, Uncle Mark's here again, Ken's here again. All right. I see everybody's just kind of chatting away. And Johnny Bravo, of course, here. What else is he doing? 83, crazy. Bravo says, cut grass today with my new 2012 snapper? With the carbon fiber repaired grass catcher. Nice. I checked out one of those videos. I wanted to check out a couple of the others. Keeping the beard arch looks good. Thanks, Ken. I'm trying to keep it a little bit longer. I trimmed it a little bit. I might trim it a little bit more tomorrow. I said to my daughter tonight, I said, why don't we just give me like a perm, right? So that all my hair hangs down like the way it does when it's wet. Because my hair is so thin, and now it's thinned out. Like I have almost nothing up here. I'm like, I have a feeling that the first hot day, really, and it's on my neck and I'm frustrated, out comes the buzz wheel and everything is just going to go. Like I said a couple of weeks ago, I'm just going to get rid of as much as possible, but I want to keep it as long as I can, Papa says, raining again here in Ontario. Backyard is a swamp, really. But, we're coming into that. TGM says, hey, he's here. He's fucking gorgeous here today. I had to get out and do yard work. Yeah, of course, yeah. We were thinking about doing a little bit, but no, not time. I got other stuff to do. It's not quite time yet. TGM's here. TGM, still got your stuff here. Come and get it. Or I'm going to want to shove it in the back somewhere, and it's going to get buried till next year. Bro says, cut grass, cleaned out oak, moss from the gutters. Yeah, pressure wash. Wow, my neighbor was totally jealous today. You mean, which neighbor? The guy that was watching you while you had your snapper out and he was pretending to let his dog? I saw that in the background. I'm like, which guy is that? Why does he have to let his dog out front right now, right? He's checking you out with your lawnmower, right? With your snapper, your snaper. Bro says, yeah, cut grass. Mad's here. Madhouse. Now, see, Madhouse earned. Hold on, we got to play Madhouse's video. Hold on. Madhouse earned his name tonight, right? Let's get to that. And he goes, Robert, missed you today. I did not know, because you want to see what Robert was doing? Hold on, we'll get to Robert. Hold on. I didn't know that you had live stream, Ken. Every Saturday, man, because Mad was out of his mind. Here, let's go find Mad. Hold on. This is what Mad was up to, literally, right? You earned your name today, okay? Hopefully all his cussing and a fussing doesn't get me a strike. He probably got a strike. Let's see if I can find him. Hold on. Give me a second. He's mad. He's mad today. All right. This is good. Hold on. This is good. It's quality. We got to find him. Is this it? No, I don't think that's the one. We should be able to find it, though. Unless he took it down. I gotta know it's done the right way. Oh yeah, wait, yeah. Hold on. We'll set this up. Desktop audio. He's going to be mad at me, right? Too bad, because you put it out there to the public, so now we can watch it. All right, let's see. We up? Yeah, that's it. And where's the audio button? I gotta make sure that I can hear it. You guys got to hear it. If you can't hear it, let me know, because you got...
We got a big problem. Watch this.
Yeah, that's it.
Lost all ability to steer this piece of GD green shit.
Oh!
I take 50 pounds of tannerite, place it in the right spot, and blow this son of a bitch up.
Oh, he
I don't care no
mad.
more. I called the guy who did steering on it. He gonna come by tomorrow. We gotta somehow get this piece of junk back in that shop and figure out what the F went on with this piece of green shit.
Oh, he is mad.
I'm tired of this mess. I was almost done with the backyard and the steering went out. I did the front yard with your green piece of junk butt, and now you want to act a fool with me?
That's it. Let it out,
Yeah.
Madhouse. Let it out. Don't hold back.
Give you the finger, but this is YouTube.
That's a nice machine, though. I like that one.
Damn losing. Had you going right, and now you act a fool. Piece of green turd, dog crap, motherfucker.
Oh, don't you yell at my lawnmower there. I like that one.
This fixed. Now I still gotta do something about that red turd in the
Venting.
shop with its engine issues. Y'all have a great day, and I'll catch y'all whenever I feel like it. Right now, I'm too damn pissed off to even think about
he's
talking
mad.
about anything else.
Yeah, he's mad. Hold on. I'll come back. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it gets frustrating when you're doing something. It's always fun when you're done with a project and you think you're done, and then it's like everything just kind of goes, something really goes wrong, and you just don't want to do it anymore, right? You're like, I don't want to do this anymore now. Now I'm not having fun. Make it stop. Make it stop. Yeah, it happens. Sure. That was fun, though. I was checking that out. I'm like, oh, he is Madhouse. All right. So you earned your name. I'm like, ooh, he totally earned his name this time. Madhouse, mad about mowers, mad from mowers, mad about from mowers. Yep. Yeah, they can be annoying. And he goes, it's a short. TJ says, change oil on Toro snowblower. Change the paddles. Empty gas. Clean it up now. Ready for storage. Nice. I changed the scraper blades. Yeah, good. Yeah. Hopefully, we don't need any more snowblowers anymore. Like, we don't need no stinking snowblowers. Don't want no more frost control. Now, I want to get out of that. Yeah. Yeah, Johnny Rowe goes, yeah, he's mad. Yeah, they finally got that issue fixed yesterday. Nice. Power steering, yeah. My tractor's got power steering. Yep. Papa says, watch an older one of your videos on sharpening mower blades with a file. Work great. Yeah, right. If you have some, I actually need some new files. I have, well, after I did that video, or I think maybe depending on which one I was doing, I was like, let me just do one on sharpening wood files, right? This was years ago. And I think it was one of those videos where I set a whole bunch of files aside. And I'm like, what do I have left? Because I had so many files at one point. You know, because files are useful when they're no good anymore. You could make knives out of them. You could do all kinds of things with them. I've seen people make like, because it's hardened steel, so you could cut a piece off and braze it on the end, a piece of softer steel, and use it on your lathe, low RPM or whatever. I mean, there's like a number of things that you can do with a file. I don't want to throw them out, And I'll watch some of these videos on like great ideas, like 5 great things to do with old files type videos. By the way, those are cool videos. I get a kick out of that stuff. I don't watch them all the time, but they are fun, and it's actually a good idea for anybody that wants to throw a video out there. Henry's always got ideas like that, so, like 5 cool things or 3 cool things you can do with a screwdriver that you wouldn't normally do, or I don't know, whatever. Like put it through my hand. There's still a scar right over here somewhere. perfect blade shape. It's kind of healed, but that was a long time ago. I was a young fella. Yeah, bad Pink Floyd. Yup. Yeah, Robert Madhouse. Yeah. Yup. Bad Pink Floyd. Yup, that's me. Right. And says the steering sector was in contact with the steering wheel gear. Wasn't in contact. That's what I was thinking. Skiving tool. Yep. Yeah, there's all kinds of things that you can do. I just don't like throwing anything out. You guys know how I am. I don't like, sick of it. Keep it. My ex-wife would be like, why are you going to have all this stuff? Funny, because when we need to do a repair on the house, and I'm like, oh, it's downstairs somewhere. I got it. Women don't understand anything. They don't. TJ, he goes, what's with the audio? My audio or Madhouse's audio, TJ? How's my audio? Is it okay? Audio is good here. Yeah, I don't want to overmodulate. I brought it down a little bit. So the mic, I find that I like this mic. I tend to run it hot. It is a hot mic, but I like it because I don't have to be on top of it. But you'll see me do this. So if I'm sitting up, having it at arm's length is a good length, especially if I have the mic setting over here on my console at about 5. It used to be about 4. I find that at about 5, it's a little bit better, -5.2 or something. So it should be pretty good. Unless, of course, I do stupid crap like this, But that's different, right? As long as I push it back. I can't help it. I do stupid shit. Mark says, sounds good here. Triangle file makes nice deburring tool. Yeah, yep. Debudding tool. Is it a debudding tool? Is that a new kind of tool? Right? Scraper. It makes a good scraper, right? You can grind the end down and wrap a little duct tape or something around it, or I don't know, all kind of stuff. He goes, shit, TJ can't hear me. He's got something wrong. Oh, yeah. Reboot. Deburring. Yeah. Restart browser. Make sure it ain't muted. Yep. Yeah, good idea. Excellent idea. Matt says the other molar was having issues with the carb, which is fixed now. He is running. So that's good. Eventually you get everything sorted. I got to dig out my snapper. I left it outside and I partially covered it. I covered the motor, but we'll get to that. I still got to do the boots. I have the bellows, the bellow boots, the proper ones from Briggs. They're the best ones. They last the longest because they have to collapse all the way down. But I got to take it all apart like Johnny just did. And I was watching him. I'm like, oh, he's describing it. How come you didn't show it? I didn't see you do it. He's describing it, how things were stuck, and he had to use a puller, and I'm like, not that I care, but like when I'm busy doing other things, I'm like, I don't want to deal with this now. I always say I'm going to do it, in the off season, but then I'm always doing something else in the off season. I don't know why I have this aversion. I think it's because when I like to use my Honda, but when I get tired from running around like a nut doing stuff for everybody else and I have to cut my lawn, I don't want to work on the snapper, right? I want to sit on the snapper, start it up and buzz across my lawn and have a good time and end it, But I do need to make or buy the chute cover, the mulching chute cover. And Johnny was mentioning that in his video. Check out his video. He mentioned, you don't want, that blade is like right there. And Contractor Mike would just leave it open. He wouldn't, But yeah, that blade is right there. Now mine is okay. It's cracked, but it's just a regular chute. I want a new mulching blade because my blade's kind of beat. And I want the chute. But, that's not free, Probably between the blade and the chute, it's probably like $100. Something like that. I don't know. Everything's expensive now. Brett was working on that nice mower that he showed me. Yeah. Let's see if we can find it. And the customer, Kawasaki, basically the same motor that's the smaller one. The same one that's on that Turf Master, I think, that I've been fooling around with. That's Contractor Mike's. You've seen it. His carburetor was good, and he didn't throw it out. And, I cleaned his carburetor a while ago. So Brett says the carburetor for that Cowie motor he's like almost $300. Yeah. Let me see if I can give you the pick on it. This thing's nice. It's basically like a Toro cast deck style-esque and snapper-esque Lexmark style. Let's see. Can I get it close enough? but you'll get the idea. But these are nice motors. You know, and they're nice motors and nice mowers. But as we all know, the past couple of years, you know, our economy is shit, the money is shit, everybody's money is shit because it's based on our money. Now we got the war, we got everything else. You got the silver issue, you got the chip issue. That carburetor a few years back would have been $150. Now it's twice that. Everything is like twice. You know, we're getting to that point where just about everything will be about twice the cost it was a few years back. What are you going to do? You know, but it's a new Cowie carburetor. So it's not an aftermarket. He said that there weren't any aftermarket available. That can happen. You're going to run into that. Let's see, Matt says, the other mower was having issues with the carb. Yep, got that. Brother says, what is you guys' experience with these 10,000 hour LED shop lights? Yeah, horrible experiences. Have to replace mine every couple. Yeah, absolutely. And I made a video on that, on these crappy lights. And Mike E, young Mike, he brought over some he got from the town. They were redoing a school or something. I don't know if it was the town or now. He was working for the town. I think now he's working for one of the power companies, a gas company, whatever. But it's a company in Florida, and that's in my video where I replaced them. It's a company in Florida that makes them, and they're made here, and they're like 60,000 hours, and that's like 7 years. On the video, I did the math, and like if you left them on 24/7, it would be like 7 years. And so he gave me 6 of them. So I want to get a couple more, and there is a nice overhead right over here. 4 lights. There's one over there, and I'm going to put another one up in the ceiling. So the one close to my lift table over here, that still has fluorescence in it. And when I use this mic over there, it picks it up. And sometimes it's really bad because it's picking up the AC hum. So that one definitely needs LEDs in a hurry. And then the ones up in the ceiling, I want the long life LEDs because I don't want to go up there. Once I go up there and put that fixture in and chase out the other one that's there, I don't want to have to go up there for 7 years if I'm still here, literally, figuratively, in locale on the planet. So yeah, check out that video that I did on it, and I have all the documentation I put up on screen and everything, and you could go to that company and get yourself some real LED bulbs. Instead of this knockoff nonsense on Amazon or, you know, these shop light things. You're in your shop a lot. If you're going to be in your shop a lot, you know, get a real bulb and a decent fixture for it. Or just use whatever fixture you have and wire it up. And just do AC only. None of this conversion nonsense and no transformers, none of that. Those are good if you, like I have a few is set over there and in the other building they're up high. So if I don't feel like rewiring it or taking the fixture down and cleaning it, which is, you know, work, I'll probably just go up there. I already cleaned the fixtures and the bulbs. Those I'll probably get the conversion LEDs for because they pretty much cleaned everything up there. And I don't feel like going up there and rewiring, you know, on a 12-foot ladder. So for the handful that I have up there, I might just get the conversion bulbs and see how they work out. But I would like to get them from this company in Florida. You know, so I don't have to keep going up on a ladder, you know, and just end it. You know, let's see, vacuum cleaner. Matt says, I've seen a video about using a vacuum cleaner hose for the axle boots. No, it's not. That's no good. No good. Because they have to accordion, and the vacuum cleaner hose will not collapse enough, right? I put a little piece on, and it's all it is just a little piece, because if you were to extend it out, once you slide and transit the rubber wheel, that rubber wheel has to traverse all the way across, one side to the other, and it's not flexible enough. So that's bogus, right? Not, I don't know who did that video, but yeah, that's no good. You want to put a little piece on the end or something for reinforcement. No, you have to put the real boots on, and it's a pain in the neck, and you got to get the right boots. Otherwise, you're going to be back in there again. TJM says, because I've been busy Hopefully this week. Okay, yeah, I got you, TJ. No problem. It's no issue. Looks like Honda GVC 160 on that mower. It's a Cowie, and it's got the tank in the back that sticks up, and that tank on the Turf Master. I actually just threw out all that footage because I'm like, I'm not putting this out. Because Contractor Mike and his guys are so rough, they broke the original mount. I fixed it. Then I fixed it again. Then I fixed it again. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, bro. You I don't know what you're shoving this underneath brush, or he doesn't secure his equipment down on his trailer. He uses bungees. And even Big Mike was here one day when he's like, you need some straps. Contractor Mike just won't do it. I'm like, Mike, I've been telling him for like years now, get some real straps. Bungees don't hold. It sticks up high, and that's the problem with guys like that. If you get the contractor-style tanks, like on the Lawn Boys, right? Push mowers or whatever. Remember those? They came up on a pedestal. Really nice. He'll break it. Or his guys will break it. Yeah, Mike's laughing, right? Big Mike's laughing. He's laughing. Yeah, because he was standing there. I'm like, he's not going to listen to me. He doesn't listen. Mike, did you throw out the carburetor? Yeah, I threw out the carburetor, Arch. What'd you guys think of that? Did you guys see that opening, right? That was all me. But that's how he is. Arch, you got to help me. Arch, I'm going to lose my business. That's exactly what he says to me. I'm like, you're not going to lose your business. You'll be all right. What a nightmare. He won't listen. He doesn't listen. Nobody listens. That's why I have it. That's why I have a YouTube show, so that nobody can listen, right? Henry didn't listen, right? Henry, the last video I just did, he didn't get through 5 minutes of my video, and he was already commenting, right? Trying to because, Henry's now one of those people that within 5 minutes, they're like, you said that wrong, used the wrong word, you didn't check the oil? Oh my God. I'm like, Henry, I left all of the cues and the clues in there. You didn't watch the whole thing. It's like, oh, you're right, I didn't watch the whole thing. So, okay, Henry, you're one of those guys, right, watching a YouTube video, and you're like, oh, I gotta start typing. Oh, you didn't do this. Oh. It's so funny, right? Because there are people that are like, Henry's like that. Henry, we caught you. We have the documentation, Henry. So it's it. It exists forever. You can't retract it. Or maybe you can retract it. I don't know. I don't know if you can do that or not. I don't know. I don't care, right? I just like breaking Henry's walls. But he was trying to break my walls. I can't believe you didn't check the oil. Of course I checked the oil. I even said it a bunch of times. Oh, but Mike was just driving me nuts that day. He drove me nuts all day. You gotta help me now. I gotta cut lawns. I know you gotta cut lawns. That's what you do. He's very passionate. Very passionate. He smokes so much pot. For sure. He's very passionate. Well, I get passionate too over some things, That's his business. I understand, right? Because he doesn't know what's happening. He and his father get to fixing these machines. He had one of the Time Masters, and I had this thing nice. Comes back like the next season, early the next season. I'm like, Mike, where's the wheels for this thing? Oh, what? There's nothing wrong with them. I'm like, Mike, there's no inner bearings, and the outer bearings are rusted to shit. Oh, what did you do with the good wheels? I lubricate. He took them for something else. He took them off of a machine that was working fine that I had gone over, and he doesn't even know. I'm like, where did they go? Where'd you do with the good wheels that were on there? And you put this garbage on? So him and his dad get to taking carburetors apart and not putting them on right. We don't need these gaskets. We don't need no stinking gaskets, right? So you can put the gaskets on, and then he's coming to me and with this. I'm like, where'd you get the carburetor, Mike? This is like a regular thing, honestly. And then one of the things he did, though, is I fixed up the yellow Cub Cadet walk behind, right? This is the one where he bought it because somebody put a big, heavy, aluminum grass catcher on the side of it. They rigged it up with bird crap welding and everything. And I'm like, Mike, this is no good. This machine can't handle it. It wore out the whole mechanism that lifts the deck and all that. Broke it. I remade it and cleaned it off. I'm like, you really can't keep using this thing because there's no bushings or bearings. It's steel on steel. It's wearing. It's already oblonging holes. It's not made for this. He sold it for like $1,000. And he says, I'm going to try and get as much as I can. I think the bag attachment is the key, I'm like, what do you mean it's the key? He's like, that's the thing that people are going to want. I'm like, Mike, that's the thing that's going to blammo somebody that blammoed you, the guy that sold it to you that made the mistake of putting that on there. And then you had to pay me all kind of money. And if it wasn't for me, you'd either be replacing that entire mechanism, which would be really expensive, or the mower would be crap, where somebody would half rig it together like the way they did with a half-ass attempt, and it broke immediately. I said, that's not the selling point. That's its curse. Get rid of that. I'm like, I wouldn't charge that much. He didn't care. To me, that's a problem. I wouldn't charge $1,000 to sell that. I would be like, yeah, its problem is the bag. You should rip all this off and put the plastic thing on and do a mulch or a discharge and get that. I would not. I'm like, it's your business, bro. You do you, right? You do you. And somebody bought it. Right, and it will break, and it will wear out, and it will be trashed, because it doesn't belong on there. It's not a contractor's machine. It's for us. It's for, when you have a bigger yard. It's a nice machine. Some of the people wrote in. I got one more video to put out on it. They've written in on it, and they like it for themselves and their yard, and they're keeping it nice, and they police the area, and they don't run over bricks, which is what he just did with it, or his guy did with it, and I had to fix it. And then he went to go put the cogged belt back on. And I said to him, you can't just put it on, you have to align it. Is that what you did? You just tried to put it back on and the blades slammed into one another? He didn't answer. So then he had issues with his tie master, and he actually did listen. He goes, I did what you told me to do. I said, did you set them 90 degrees? He doesn't know what 90 degrees is. He didn't really answer. He goes, and then I got it working. I'm like, I'm becoming a mechanic now. I'm like, whoa, watch that word, bro, around me, okay? Good for you, bro. I'm trying to teach him, No, you're not a mechanic yet. Not to beat you up, but no, not yet. Be a while. So if he can learn something, good. 90 degrees, as long as he got it set to where they're not crashing into one another, it should be okay. It doesn't have to be exactly 90 degrees, but it should be. I said, make them opposite of each other. One this way, one that way. So I think he did that. So hopefully that's running okay for him. And I just got this one machine to do. And then he said he had something else for me to do. It was a dethatcher or something. I never put the video out, but I had that Bluebird that I fixed for him. He had it a week, and either he or the fellas completely destroyed it. I went over it, made it work good, and they ran over something with the thrasher bales, and pieces came flying off and went all over the place. And he brought it back, and I'm like, get this thing out of here. All right? I don't know what to tell you. I got stuff to do. What do these guys do? Oh my gosh. Would you go try to, detach a curb? They don't care. A lot of the guys that he hires, they don't care. They do not care. Right? You have to be there standing over them, otherwise they'll ruin it. Need an original Tecumseh carburetor. Who has them? TGM says. I told you, just see, Google it, right? You'll probably get it right off of eBay. That'd be my guess, but I don't really know. Hey, Robert's here. Rob Walker, 6125. Says hello to everybody. Man, little Johnny. Let's see. Robert, my attached garage is 22 by 25 with 10 LED 4-foot lights in it. You need sunglasses to walk out there. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Yep. Yeah. Let's see. Hold on. Let me back up a little bit. Okay, missed a thing or two here. Restart browser. Robert says, what is you guys' experience? Man, I've seen a lot of videos using a vacuum cleaner. I've been busy hopefully this week. Looks like kind of GTV. EGM's where can you get a original carburetor? Papa says, do you ever get condensation on your tools when the weather changes, especially wrenches and sockets? Yes, I used to. Papa says, Arch, get you a set of those Manoa lavalier mics. Not the cheapest, but those things filter out ultrasonic noise. Nice. Yeah, eventually. I got a 3-set. Man says I got a 3-set of fluorescent lights in the shop, which are wired in series, which means it won't work if one of the tubes is not working or is removed. Yeah. Want to convert them to LED. Nina Rigid comes to carburetor. All right, so we got up that far. So before I put the heat in out here, yeah, especially when I ran I had the kerosene heaters running for a while, and I would put a couple of them and run them up and get everything warm. And if I brought the temp up too quick, condensation on all my tools, everything would rust. So now with this heater's been here for a long time. I turn it down low, but I actually need to fix this heater. The bushings and or bearings in the fans are shot. So it will squeak, or sometimes when you first turn it on, it won't start. And then the sail switch will kill it, because it has to prove flow. And if you don't prove flow in a certain amount of time because the fan isn't blowing, all right, if I let the flame roll over, then wash over the whole machine, right, and it will warm the bearings up a little bit, and then it'll start. Oh, that's so bad, I know. But I got to get up there. Now I can get to that area because there was other stuff over there, and I really couldn't get to it. It was kind of buried. Plus, I wasn't really able to stand on a ladder a few years back. Remember I was crippled. Even now I'm going for some more balance therapy as soon as I can make appointments to do it. I went last year, and then my insurance with the state got all messed up, and I didn't have insurance for 5 months because everybody that worked at the state that gave me advice on how to renew it was wrong. Until after 5 months, I called my insurance provider, had a lady there call the state, get through to the department that makes the determinations, because I'm not allowed to speak to those people. So I have to speak to the other idiots that have no clues to what they're saying. Got through to that department because the insurance provider got through. The first person answered the phone and then proceeded to not say anything for 10 minutes and hold the line open. The woman I was working with, she says, John, I can't hang up because if I pick up the phone again, it's still going to be connected. Had to wait for that asshole, right, to turn the phone off. Called back again and got a woman that actually knew what she was doing. She said, John, it's this easy. You could have written this on a napkin, right? And believe me, people have, okay, and sent it in. And she told me exactly what to do. That was a Friday late afternoon, after 5 months, coming up on 6 months. That afternoon, we got off the phone, said thank you to everybody. My daughter was here. We went online, did exactly what we were supposed to do, sent it up, and wouldn't you know, that was a Friday afternoon. By Monday afternoon, I had insurance. After 5 months of constantly writing and putting together packages and calling people and waiting for them to help me. This is the problem with bureaucracy. Oh, yeah, we want state-run insurance. We want central insurance. We want government-run this. Oh, yeah. Good luck with that. Oh, my God. What a nightmare. So, yeah, I had to stop. I had to stop going because I didn't have insurance. And then the other game that they play is they want pre-authorization for everything. So I told my doctor, you want me to do all this stuff, but then you start making appointments and you don't pre-authorize. I had this one medication. I went for almost half the year before I finally got pre-authorized. I had to pay it out of pocket because they just wouldn't do it. The doctor's office wouldn't do it. Because, again, this is Northwell Health, right? Big company, buys out all the small providers. And you're talking to some schlump on the phone who doesn't care. You're one person of many. They don't care. And you're like, I need pre-auth on this medication. Yeah, all right, yeah. Next month, I need pre-auth on this medication. Yeah, all right, yeah, sorry, all right. You can't do anything. It's Obamacare for you. A bummer care. Yeah. DJ, I need an original Tecumseh. Let me back up here. My focus is low, man. It sounds like squirrel cage issues with the furnace blower. Yeah. This one is a squirrel cage, and the other one is just a big fan. Yep. There's a booster fan on the exhaust, and that has to prove. It doesn't really need it, but it was there. Like, I don't actually need it because it's a really short run. But I'm like, I don't want to take it out. I do need to fix it, Mark says, sorry I had to walk away for a few minutes, but back, he goes, but back, and you're still all here. Yeah, we're still here. I haven't chased everybody away yet. Jamie goes, ladders are dangerous, especially when I was on it. He goes, Rob says, let's see, we got to give RW. Even having insurance means little today. I know. I couldn't afford my prescription medication. I went gray market. Yep, sometimes. Yeah. Well, gray market's good. There should always be a gray market for things. I think there always will be a gray market, even if they try to like take away our cash and everything. They always want to try to do it. This has been a dream of the New World Order for Bush and back to it's everybody. They've been after. They have their dreams and we have ours. You know, they don't always agree. You know, that's just the way it is. It doesn't matter. Left, right, middle, center. All right. Somebody's always, hey, Mitch is here. He goes, hello, Arch. Yeah, yeah. So let me show you. So you guys, do you guys know? Hold on, wait. Let me get it. Let me get it. This is part of it. Oh, nice. It's a club to beat yourself with, right? You guys know what this is? Does anybody know what this is? All right, it's on my thumbnail. Take a guess. Big Mike knows what it is, but he can't write in because he doesn't have an account with YouTube. Hey? Oh, he'll probably jump on his son's account or somebody just to write in, just to be a pest, right? Anybody know what that is? Anybody want to take a guess? Like, what am I going to do with it? And then we got a hole there. I know the lighting's not great because I'm done with light now. The end of the day. I'll show you guys. Let me put this down. Hold on. Let me go put this. What does Mike say? He goes, some paint. Some paint? Yeah, it's got some paint on it. Hold on. I put some paint on it. All right, so it's probably goes something for the Sun Star. Well, oh, that's close. That's close. Yep. Ken says engine stand arm. Oh, that's really good. Hold on. Part of an engine stand, Bravo says. Hold on. Here in Canada, we too can have issues with our government. Stuff not covered, hard to get refills. Yeah, it's like everywhere, right? It's like a thing. Well, because the globalists are a thing and they want to run everything. That's why they call them globalists. You know, they're not nationalists for sure. They don't care. They don't have a country. These are the elites of the elite. They can live wherever they want, whenever they want. They don't care. They have their own private islands. And you know what? They're better than Epstein Island. You know, you got years worth of drugs for what a month used to cost. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You can get some things you can get good prices on. Yup. Drugs.
Drogas.
Yep. Yeah. Something from an engine. Yeah. Let's see. Engine stand. So let me show you what I'm working on. So, yeah, you guys are all right on it. You guys are all right on it. So, yeah, so for the Sunstar, so a couple of projects coming up. I have a lot of engines. And the first one, big ones, you know, the big single slug and the dual slug. And like I not only need an engine run-in stand, but I also need something that I can do repairs and test on and pull them apart and rebuild and check them out and whatever, right? Because a lot of these things are laying on the ground on the other side of that wall, and some of them are still in machines that I want to part out this year, right? And then we got Big Mike's and my stuff as well. So there's a lot. I'm like, well, I have a thing outside that I can kind of make into a running stand, and I had a big old a horizontal, axial Briggs engine that I got running. It was part of a big old generator with nice bearing wheels and everything. And I showed that. I put an E-series coil on it, and I made it run. It's on my channel. I'm like, yeah, I cobbled together an E-series electronic ignition coil, and put it on like a really old, big honking Briggs points engine. I'm like, this would make a great running stand. But I need something else. I need, I don't want to just work on top of a table and toss the engine around the table. So I thought, well, I have engine stands I can donate to this whole debacle. So it was like last Saturday was kind of like watching Ken's. So I had like two missions. One, dig out my engine stands out of the basement and clean them up because they were there for, like the one that I was fooling around with, that one I've had for over 30 years. I was probably about 16 when I bought this thing, and it's gotten modified over the years. So now it just got modified again. And the other thing was, I'm like, I have to end the squeak on my air compressor. I can't take it anymore because it drives me nuts. I don't mind the sound, but with the oh God! So that was the two things I did last Saturday. So let me see if I can find. Oh, it was horrible. So I ended that. So this is I'm not going to show all of it. Just going to show like little pieces of it because it's all unedited. You know, it's all over the place. Like me, I'm all over the place, right? That's what my mom always said.
Yeah, without heating it, I just by slicing it.
Yeah, I sliced it.
I knocked it down. I think that's much nicer.
Yeah.
Now we'll go with the 332nd rod.
Yeah.
And about
So stick
40.
welding it.
Where am I?
Where is it?
50 amps. So we'll go about 45
50
amps.
Where's my? Yeah.
That last one was nice, but we were.
So let's just kind of go through, cruise backwards. I always like to cruise backwards. This is all the crap outside. It was disgusting. So it's this
All right,
gross
so today's
thing.
project. Like I dug
Dead
all of the stuff out of
bugs.
the basement. It's this fixture that you'll see probably later, but this is an interesting fixture. But these
That's what she
are
said.
the engine stand pieces. I figured I'd dig everything out. At some point, I want to get into the basement and vacuum. It hasn't been vacuumed down there in 15, 20 years for all I know. It's disgusting. Dead bugs coating everything. Here's the other part. So I figure while I'm here,
Robbie
this
remembers
project can
this
wait
stand.
because I still need some parts.
Yeah,
I think
hold on.
I am going to do the
Yeah, I gotta
welding out
fix
here,
this
though. I
this
may
week.
well do.
All right, we'll get to that. We got to weld on that too. So let's see. What else we got? Yeah, so it's fooling around here. A little more bird shit weld. Right.
Ugly as
Moving
sin,
on
but I went
there.
up to what, 55 amps? Let me
It
find
was
the
dirty.
right spot. Get a little bit more light on it. So I was able to really dial it in. One of the things that you could do is you could grind everything.
So it was, when I first started welding on it, it was so much dirt inside the tubes, it smoked a lot. Like, it filled up the shop. The last few welds I did, there was almost no smoke. So let's see, I cleaned it up. This is it. This is the stand. I modified the stand, and I primed it. Cleaned it up, modified it, did a bunch of things to it.
I did thin this quite a bit. Mineral spirits and lacquer thinner. The lacquer thinner will burn off quicker,
So that's good.
but
And then, let's see. Now we got to get to, what was that, 4.3, 4.4? 4.2. Let's see here. A little bit, oh yeah, here's an example. First mock-up. All right, took yesterday off. As you can see, time. Basically, you're going to make one adjustment. Yeah, so I added this pipe over here. So the pipe now lives down there. I added, from the other stand, I added this little tool tray. And then later I added wheel brakes, because that's flat. I also put on, years ago, I put this front piece on. I don't know if you could see it, but here's some wheel brakes. All right, check. A little bit of welding of some wheel brakes. And what else did I do? There was some other crap that I did. Is this a mock-up? Yeah, here we go. Let's move this up here. Let's turn this down a little bit. All right, I figured, right, just as an inspiration. Because I had to turn Madhouse up.
because at some point you got him.
Yeah, I needed an inspirational video here for myself.
Yeah, so this is the
Let's
setup.
see it.
So I'm going to go in a minute.
Yeah, that's nice.
I got everything set up.
Who
I
cares?
cleaned up a little bit in here.
Yeah.
And
All right, that's good. So you can see there's the... This is like from the other side of the engine stand, what you would normally connect to your motor, and I have two different ones. So I can decide which one I want to use. They stand off the engine differently. You just loosen up the bolts, align it to the holes that, for whatever engine you're doing, tighten everything up. Everything swivels in every direction you can want, and you can rebuild the entire motor or do whatever you want with it. And then I think, I don't have a full mock-up of it because I didn't get that far yet. But now I also made up some paint. today. I wanted to make up some paint because I had a lot of white and black laying around. I'm like, let's make gray!
Yeah, I think it's almost dry to the touch. There's some wet spots in the usual places along the corners of things. It's soft.
Yeah. So it was a three-wheeler. Oh,
It's just a couple of places.
It was a three-wheeler. And years ago, I did a 1964 Ford Galaxy. And I had to get away from that project, but I think Robbie lent me his engine stand. I modified this stand, and we made a rotisserie for the frame. And I completely rebuilt the frame from head to toe, all painted. I burned out one of his drills. He won't let me live that down. We drilled holes in the frame and got inside the frame, cleaned it out, lightened it up a little bit, checked all the welds, painted everything, new brakes, new wheel bearings, just everything, mint. And the guy that bought it, I got good money for it. The guy that bought it was so happy because it was a minted out rolling chassis for a 64 Ford Galaxy. So I put this front section on because it was a three-wheeler. So this is American made, and I butchered that red stand, which was China made. And I'll tell you, there's a difference in the material, okay? Trying to fuse the two pieces together was a bit of a pain in the neck because the steel is crap. Chinese steel is garbage. It's probably all the radioactive steel and garbage, and some of it's recycled from our Twin Towers, and which is another crime. But that was done years ago. So these are local shopping cart, stolen wheels, right? Put some wheel brakes on them. And, you'll see the rest of it at some point. But yeah, it came out pretty good. I mixed up some paint. And let's see, where's the paint? Let's see, where's the paint? I was fooling around. And I'm like, oh, let's mix up paint. Let's see. Yeah, let's pour
A little bit
paint.
better tires I got from. It's always better.
Let's see. I need black. Hold on. Where's the black? Oh, here we go. Let's start mixing up paint. There we go.
This is
Yeah,
satin.
let's
The black is the
splooge
satin.
in.
And we got room in the can for.
I have a lot of white paint and a lot of black
So
paint,
this is
but
satin.
no gray
Yep, but
paint.
We're gonna add a satin.
Let's make gray paint. I like gray paint.
Just fine. Just see.
I was lamenting though, because
Might as well
one
a little bit
can of
darker.
white, they were both almost full. And I was like, all right, one of them is Satan black, which I like, and the other one was gloss black. I'm like, I don't know if I want. Look, somebody's trying to send me, is this your Facebook code? Oh, go F yourself. Somebody's trying to hack in. Yep. They're always trying to do something. Yeah, I made some nice paint. Let's see. Do I show it?
That's
Yeah, that's nice. Wait. Where is it?
gonna lighten up. It's a nice
that's
gray.
not bad.
About the color.
I like the darker grays. Nothing. I don't want it to be too light. Machine gray, or I don't know. I forget what's battleship gray. I don't know if it's what I'm thinking of or not. But yeah, I finished all this stuff up. That's the final color. Isn't that pretty?
And here I'm gonna mix. So just before I move the up, it's about half of this. As a general,
Yeah.
if I have to get
Yeah,
two
blah blah
coats
blah blah
on
blah. Blah.
today,
Nobody cares. All right, I'm coming back. Am I? There we go. I'm back. So let's see what you guys are doing. Mix this. Hello. Indication I went to Gray Market. Henry says motor stand. Yup. And it's a nice way to without. I didn't have to butcher my engine stand for like 8-cylinder, 6-cylinder engines. I just butchered the Chinese one, and I'm like, you know what? The wheels assembly, I want to put, they're nice steel wheels. I want to put that underneath my lathe, and I'll make something to go around the perimeter and lock it all in. So I'm like, okay, good. This is going to be for rolling around my lathe, and the other parts are going to be for the engine stand. So sometime this week, I'm going to mount the Magnum 20 horsepower, Cola Magnum. And that's the first thing that goes on there. And then that frees up the hoist, clean up the garage a little bit more, get contractor Mike's yellow machine out of here, and then I got to get in Big Mike's tractor. We got to find a way to get that into the garage. I got to get the cutting deck off of it. We'll do that outside. drag that in. We got to yank the motor and do a motor swap. But before I do that, I want to go over his donor motor and make up a parts list too. So that's why it's going on. Henry says, he goes, we didn't see anything with the paint. No, you saw a little bit. Yeah, I just showed you a little bit. You know, I'll make a video on it. I want to cut out all of the nonsense. You know, some of the stuff that I do in my videos, a lot of it winds up, as they say, on the cutting room floor. Because, like, I just did a video, the last video I just did, that's from last year. So there's always extra fluff in it, which is me talking to the camera more for myself. Because if I have videos that they're like 2 years old, 3 years old, I haven't done. So I don't know what the hell it is. So I'll start watching it, and I don't remember what the hell I did. But I can hear what I'm saying, and I can decide, is this the direction I want to go with in this video? Because the ideas that I have when I go to do a video aren't necessarily the ideas that I arrive upon when I actually do the video, whenever that is. So there's a lot of extra footage, and it gets tiring because I don't want to sit and listen to myself. You know, I got to talk into a camera every day, and then I got to go listen to me talking into a camera at night when I'm doing edits. Oh my God, it's horrible. So that's another reason why it takes me forever to do videos, because I just don't want to do it. You know, it just gets beat after a while, and there's a lot of footage to go through. And if I haven't done a video for a year or months or whatever, I don't know. I don't remember. You know, I got so many projects going on. I'm not going to remember everything. So I just kind of throw everything up. My philosophy is, if you have it in the can, as they say, if you record it, you have it. You can decide to use it, or you can throw it out. If you don't have it, you don't have it. You can't use it. There's nothing there. So I finished up Big Mike's track snowblower, which he just found another one very similar to that today. I finished up that last week, and I had to do one more mod. The two wheels, the rubber wheel was not coming in contact with the steel spinner, you know, that runs the gears. It was barely touching. And I think this might have been a problem with that machine. And that might have been the reason why the guy threw it out. The arm that controls that pushes the wheels together, right? That's connected to another arm or a spring or whatever, and on the handle, and it lifts up and down. And as it lifts up, it rides through a slot in the case, and it was hitting that top of the slot. It wasn't allowed to go as far as it needed to go. So I had it outside, and I'm like, it's kind of trying to engage. What's going on here? And I figured it out. So I had to widen that, lengthen that slot. And I think I took like another 3/8, half of an inch, gave it more travel, cut that slot open more, reconnected everything, brought it outside, tested it, worked fine. And he took it last week. I think he took it sometime last week or last weekend, or I don't remember, during the week. I don't remember. That's what I mean, I don't remember. So I took all of that footage and put it all into basically folders under one main folder, and then I put it on my drives that are all backed up. So I have like 3 drives that do backups, and they're like my deep storage drives. Put it all together because that's going to be for probably the beginning of, shudder to say it, but the winter season coming up. I hate even saying that. I'm not doing that now. Is that Mike? Who's that? Oh, it's Tina? So that's going to be a ways off. So again, I'm not going to remember what the hell I did. That's why it's on video. It was funny because I was watching something from Madhouse. Hold on. Because you need to keep the pantry door closed all the way. The cake is in there cooling for the night. And so Aunt Deb's gift, Beanie likes strings. Oh, no. All right. Okay. Yeah. Because the cats will get it. That's funny. Yeah, because the cats will get at it. Yeah, especially Beanie, the youngest one. He'll go in there. One of his favorite things to do. See, like if you take like a glass like this and you leave some water in it, especially a clear glass with water in it, if you leave it on the table somewhere or on the counter and nobody's around, because he's up at weird times, he'll sit and look at it and he'll play with it. He likes to knock them off. The countertops onto the floor. He just likes to do that. Likes to watch it fall. Likes to fool around with it. So you can't. You have to hide it somewhere or put it in the sink or something. You can't leave it out because he'll knock it off onto the floor. They all have the thing that they do. something that they all do, and it's different than the other one. And it's this little pesky thing. Oh, is that Brett? Yeah, we were talking about you before, Brett. Oh, were your ears burning? Matt says, I believe it's part of the mower lift. Yep. He goes, Brett says, just popping in for a few. Got to be up at 5:15 for sunrise service. Yep. Happy Easter to everybody and you, Brett. Papa says, will you move towards battery tools versus compressor? A little bit more, but I still like to use the compressor for a lot of things. But yeah, I do want to move a little bit more. Madhouse says, hey. Brett says, I'm buying a Hercules drill. For as often as I use one, going to Walt or Milwaukee would not be so caught. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Robbie and I always talk about that. But anyway, Madhouse was lamenting because he couldn't remember which way the arms, the control arms that, connect to the front tires, right, for steering. He couldn't remember which one went where. And he goes, I should be taking snapshots and video of this before I take it apart. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to be doing. Instead, don't just put it out there after the fact, right? Take it for yourself too. I say that on my channel a lot. I'm like, use your camera, right? Use your phone camera and take some snapshots, or even make a little video for yourself. You don't have to put it out. Just make a little video for yourself, because for a lot of us, right, we're working on our machines. You get called away. Something's going on, you're doing it on the weekend or at night, you're getting tired, somebody calls you for dinner, or you got to go somewhere or whatever. And then you come back and, like I'm saying, you're not going to remember, weeks later, a month later, if you're working on a project like that and you're fixing up a machine like he is and you're trying to go through everything. Why should you remember? I used to draw it, but now you can just take pictures. And you can also put tape tags with, grab a marker, grab a big roll of tape, take it off, get some little disposable baggies, put the bolts and everything in the baggies, label them up, label everything up, and put it in a box and put it to the side. Yeah, so Robbie and RW and I used to talk about this all the time. The differences between, different tool levels, right? Porter cable, Milwaukee, Ryobi. Some things are worth splurging and having high quality and returnability and repairability. But some things, if you're not going to do it all the time, if it's like low use, go to Harbor Freight and buy the budget thing. Sometimes you can buy 2 or 3 of those tools for what you'd spend on like a real name brand tool. Sometimes it's not worth it. But yeah, I do want to go. Pop it to a little bit more of the battery operated. There's a battery operated version of my little grinder here, my little die grinder. This one I broke, actually. It's missing an impeller tooth, so sometimes it won't start, and you got to give it a nudge. Hold on. But I've had this for years, so. I think this might have been a Northern tool. I don't think this was a Harbor Freight, but it's one of my favorites. So Milwaukee has a nice variant of this at the right angle, but it's now it's over $200. Oh, I got a fart. Oh yeah, that's for you guys. I can't keep it to myself, so I want to get a battery operated one, and I have the charger for it, but it's expensive. Nobody breathe, it's all mine. But this one has got wear on it now, and I'm like, well, I would hate for it to stop working because it's still nice to have multiples of something. This one's got, for example, a bigger pad, but it's a Scotch-Brite pad on it. I could have another one loaded up with a sanding pad. So sanding pad, Scotch-Brite pad, right? You follow up with Scotch-Brite pad. It's nice having multiple grinders. Like my Milwaukee grinder, my big which is in the other room now on my cart, battery operated. It's heavy, so, and especially with the big battery, but it's portable. It's battery operated. There's no cord. There's no airline, right? And it's very versatile. It's easy to use. However, it's slower, which is kind of good because if you're cutting or doing certain things, the lower speed is safer and not as aggressive. The other one that I've had forever, which is like a Craftsman, I don't know who made it, but I've had it forever. It's light. Very easy to use. It's corded, but it's faster. And sometimes it's a little too fast. And there's no way to slow it down. It's not a variable speed. Now I can hook up this thing to it. Hold on, I'll get it. You can use this. Hold on, let me get a flashlight. So I know I'm getting at what I want. Here it is. Oh, let me put that down. Let me put that down. Let me put this away. So this tool, this is a variable speed controller. And so you can control the speed. You can turn it on or off. You can go full speed or variable speed or off from here. And it's got the fuse and the plug on this end. You plug your tool in there. And I was just about to use this in that video, that little segment I was just showing, because I ran the die grinder, which you'll see me using it when I release the video. So this die grinder is not variable speed. So I pretty much always plug it into that tool, because why not, right? Sometimes when you're rolling a bit on here or you're rolling a cartridge roll, its native speed is too fast for that. Sometimes you want that, but most of the times, no. It's just too fast. So options. Options are key. And there are certain things about the battery operated that make them a go-to. And then there are certain things about the corded tools that make them a go-to. So if you're using something all day long, I don't know, it really depends. I mean, you know what? You can never have enough tools. You know, tools are my life. I just love tools. You know, I just buy them all. Buy every tool, and then you won't have any problems. No, Arch, nobody can do that. No, nobody can really do that. There's very few people that can afford to do that or would want to, right? Or you could, you can't anymore, but years ago, you could have bought a hardware store and ran a hardware store or a tool store, but you can't now because, you know, everybody will undercut you and you'll never survive. But yeah, you could be the guy years ago when, like, our parents, like, you could have been the guy who had all of the tools because you owned a store that sold them all. That would be fun. But then you'd be there all the time and you'd never get anything done. You'd only be selling tools and not actually using them. I'd rather use them and then sell them. I'd rather use them than buy them too. Let's see. Message retracted. Hold on. Hello, Brett. I'm buying a Hercules. Yeah, I like the Hercules. It's good. And we got that X mark going. OEM carb was almost... Yeah, I was just talking about that. I showed that. Robert says, Brett... Robert says, RW says, Black & Decker surprised us with that at the Avco panel shop. Yeah, Black & Decker, I don't know how they are now, but I mean, I got a Black & Decker skill saw that I've had forever. And I worked all the years with Arthur and then building this and doing the side jobs. The only thing that's wrong with it now is I got to replace the cord. I've never been able to kill it. So I just need to replace the cord because it's bad. It's bad. It's shot. And I was using it too like that, like last year and the year before. But no, I got to replace it. Yeah. Matt says, Arch is the fart master. I know. Papa's laughing. I'm sorry, fellas. I have no humility, right? None. RPMs do make difference in the job you're doing. Yeah, definitely, man. Absolutely. Brett says, he goes, I have the Ingersoll Rand version of that grinder. Yeah, IR 301, and I use it for some Scotch-Brite wheels. Yeah, IR 301. Anything IR is nice. I don't know. Are they still good? Because that's the thing, too, is like things have changed over the years, you know. I remember when Makita first came out with like a lot of the early battery operated, and they were really very good for their day. I don't know if they're still any good. I mean, well, that tool I just put away is a Makita. There are meatier versions of that tool, but I've been beating on that tool for years, and it hasn't given me any issues. So we had a multi-speed 240-volt drill press the place I work. Yeah, those are nice, the multi-speeds. Mine just gets multi from the belts. Bravo says, he goes, I have faith in the HF Hercules stuff. Nice. It's great. Bought forced rotation DA buffer, paid the car and buff it. And that thing is a beast. Yeah, see, it's good to know, right? Bravo says, TFA is a thing. Tool fetish, anyone? Yeah, anonymous. Absolutely. I'm not going 12-step on that, though. You never get me to go there. I'm not going 12-step on. Actually, I can't. I bought a whole bunch of stuff this year. I can't buy anything else. So all those suggestions are always, warranted, and I appreciate them. But no, I'm trying to now catch up a little bit. I'm going to get back to work. So this was kind of fun to do this project with the engine stand because I actually didn't have to buy anything. Although I did buy. I bought some welding rod, 6011, because I wanted to do the deck on this yellow machine that's out there, the right stander. His deck is a mess. And 6011 is a good choice. So I figured, all right, well, we'll burn up some 6011 on this engine stand modification project. 6013 would have been better, but we'll burn it up. And it turns out I'm glad I did because, one, I got used to using the rod. I haven't welded with a stick in 30-somewhat years. I haven't had to. Been wanting a stick back in my life again. I'm happy I did. It looks like bird shit. But when you have that much garbage inside of something, or like a deck where I'm going to be welding, obviously, from the top of the deck, I'll clean it, a little bit and grind it a little. But the underside of the deck is just, I washed it, but it's old dirt and grass staining stuck. That smoke comes up through your weld, and 6011 can handle it. It won't ruin the weld because 6011 doesn't make nice welds. It's for that kind of application. And if you really wanted to, the nice thing about stick, so on the project I was working on, depending on where I was going between 1/8 and 3/32 rod. And you have it, unlike MIG, you have the one rod. The one wire gauge. That's it. So you're not going to spool it out, put something else in. That's crazy. You can damage your liner. You have to change your liner. Some liners can handle a wider range, but nobody does that unless you have no choice. But you could just jump around, right, between different rods or types of rods. If I had 6013 or 10, whatever it is, I could have just chosen a different rod to finish up with. In fact, there were a couple little tags that I did, and I went to MIG, actually, towards the end of the project. I actually wound up doing some MIG, especially putting those little wheel brakes on, because I just wanted to weld a nut to the, to the side of the wheels and put a bolt in it. So I was using up that crappy metric hardware that came with the Chinese stand, and cut a slot in the top of the bolt, welded a nut. And the MIG is nice because you can just, you got this little bolt or nut, and if you go too high or too low or whatever, you're hitting the threads. But MIG, you can just grab it out of position, you don't care, and just go, and you're dead on. So you clean the surface a little bit, and you're kind of dead on, right? But for stick, and also, if I want, I could clean up on that deck. I can clean it up if it's nice out. Clean it up, grind a little bit, blow it off, grab the machine. It's lightweight. I have plenty of cord, and I could just do it right outside. Whereas if there's a little bit of a slightest breeze or whatever, MIG, it's blowing your shielding gas away, unless you have flux core, which is another thing that I want to get at some point in the future. Like a cheap flux core. I was kind of going back and forth with Wayne's son, because he wanted to get a MIG, gas MIG. And I said, you really don't need it for what you're doing. Oh, I want it, it's crappy, the flux core is crappy. Yeah, but it's really for lawnmower decks. He doesn't know, he'll find out, but for lawnmower decks, you'll see what it'll do to your nice MIG, right, with the shielding gas. It's kind of a waste. It really is. You're better off with, 6013 or 6011. Just choose the right rod and go in there and you weld in a lawnmower deck. And you can do it outside or whatever with the garage door open in a windy day. Professionals use stick. You know, I mean, they're professionals. They can use whatever the hell they want. You know. Hold on, wait. He goes, oh, Bleach, is this Bleach here? Hey, Bleach. He goes, I have skill drills. Nice. Skill is good. Yeah, skill is good. Yeah. Is that, do I have a skill? No, that's a B&D, I think. I'm not going to go look. I also have the Ryobi stuff, too. Bleach says, a hammer one and a battery one, and thank from you get hammer drill. Okay, you got a hammer drill. Matt says Cobalt is nice. Cobalt, Ridget, and Makita, and Porter cable tools. Yeah, they're all nice. They're all nice. And again, depending upon what you get, what you're getting it for. Bravo says everybody says if you can stick weld, you can make or take. Yep, I suck at making and taking, but stick is awesome. It really depends upon how much practice. Papa says haven't ran stick in 40 years. Yeah, like same here. Welding the plow on the farm, good way to learn. Yes, perfect for that. And the new machines, unlike my old Lincoln that's over there, which, I run that at 220 as well. I run everything on 220 that I can. That thing's heavy. It's an old transformer jammy, and it's durable as hell. You really can't kill it. I don't like saying things like that, but it's heavy, really heavy, and I'm getting older, and diabetes is like making me like frail, I definitely don't like carrying that stuff with the back issues and everything else. But this new machine, the Prime Weld, is light. So, it's not feather light, but, grab the cord, grab the gear, bring it outside, get comfortable on a nice day out in the yard, lean over his deck. Oh, that came all right. Oh, need a little grinding here. You're done. You outside, Papa, with a blade standing there outside, fooling around. Nice day. It's good to go. And, grinding and paint makes me the welder I ate. Everybody knows that, okay? And honestly, with root passes, with stick, most of the time when you lay a root pass down on something, you're going to grind it. You grind before, you set it up the way you want it, and you weld it, and then you grind it a little bit, you make adjustments. Once you start getting some material down and it's clean, 6013 is a little bit better because the flux, once you get through like that first few passes with the filth and the yuck that might be contaminating it, and you grind a little bit more, or you can use one of the other rods depending on what how much you want to spend. You could finish up with the nicer rod, and it'll look pretty, and you probably won't really have to grind, and just leave it. And if in some of the bigger material, like that's something I learned. Like this material was too thin. I was at 50 amps, I think is about the highest. But it goes up, the welder goes up to 200. So if you're laying down bead on 1/4 inch steel or 3/8 steel, you can start burning at 100, 150. All welds come out nice at the higher currents, right? They just lay in nice, I just love the way they wet up, because the metal doesn't fight you anymore at those high currents. At 40 amps, the Chinese box was starting to burn through. At around 50, it was like, oh, look, there's a fresh hole. Let's go down to 40. But at 40, I wasn't really able to bite into the pipe that I was using. I found some nice pipe. It was like, I forget what the size was, 1/8 or something. It was, good pipe. And I wanted to bite into that. So what I was doing at one point was like, all right, we're going to roll in at 50. And then we're going to drop to 40, but we'll use the 3/32 over at the box. We'll close that in and see how that goes. But the problem with that, though, is that it's less material because the rod is smaller. So even though you dropped the current down, in a way you get a longer arc burn, which is hot in itself. Not necessarily hotter than 50, but hot in itself because you're not able to deposit as much rod. So you still run the risk of burning the lighter Chinese, but the longer arc burn will cut into the heavier material. It's this trade-off game that you're dancing around with. At the end of the day, you grind it all over. You take a good look at it. I went over it. I picked at it. I showed some of the issues I had after I ground it. I'm like, we're going to go back in. We're going to hit this. We're going to hit this. We're going to hit this. We're going to. So at the end of the day, you've gone in and you filled everything, and it may only look nice after you polish it with the grinder, but you filled everything. You fused it together, and you're done. And yes, there's a lot of grinding material and flux slag and metal on the ground, and you're stepping on it, you're sweeping it up, you know. That's the life of a welder and a fabricator. You know, what do you want? Okay. Not everything is TIG. You know, on that project that I was doing for Mike's snowblower, I had to fuse the body of the box together again before I put that bracket on top, you know, that whole new mounting plate. And pretty much that material was clean and it was in good shape. It was just cracked. So I just fused most of it with the TIG. I put very, very little material on top, you know, from the rod. And that was the whole idea. I didn't want it build up. I didn't want to grind it. You don't want to be grinding on it. It's thin material in the first place. I needed it to be flat. I didn't want to overheat it. I didn't want it warping. And so the TIG was the perfect choice. Once that was done, I went to MIG because I tried continuing with the TIG and it was like, no, now, especially once I sprayed that weld through primer on. Yeah, if you do weld through primer, you're going to TIG or stick, MIG or stick, because TIG and weld through primer does not work. It's just like a dirty weld. The gases come up through the weld puddle and they make it porous and they ruin it, you know, for TIG. For MIG, it's not as bad. For stick, with the right stick and the flux on the, you know, on the outer portion of this, it doesn't care. It just floats it out of the way. You know, the weld's not going to look all that great anyway, but you could still make nice beads, you know, decent ones. Different applications, you know. It's just like what you learn. As long as you're present in the moment and you have some idea of what's going on and what's going wrong, usually you can fix it if you don't burn holes through everything, you know. You know, oh, look, I got a 1-inch hole now. Oh, that's 2 inches. Oh, yeah, stop. If you're starting to do that, you got to stop. Yep. What's Bleach up to? Bleach, what are you up to? Let's see. Lichen Tombstone 2 and 20. Oh, I know what that one is. Yeah, I gave one. My friend of mine passed away a bunch of years ago, and I gave the Lincoln Tombstone to my buddy Arthur. He didn't really have anything. He just had a squeeing Harbor Freight. The fellas bought these blue. I think Robbie bought one and Arthur bought one. They bought this blue welder, this fake faux, you know, Miller welder from Harbor Freight when we were younger. And they had like plastic gears in the transport mechanism for the MIG. And they would squee. They would lose traction after a while. And they would literally squee. It's what it sounded like. So they both had that. And I think Robbie fixed his, or I don't know, he sold it when he was done. But Arthur's been having issues with that. I don't know. I gave him the Tombstone welder. I'm kind of sorry I did in a way, because like I should have kept it for myself, because the Tombstone welder is nice. But honestly, he didn't have anything. Honestly, for any kind of welder, stick welder, if you can buy one, it's AC/DC. You can reverse the polarity. You can choose. You can modify the frequency a little bit. You're going to get any of these newer welders that allow you to do this stuff. If you improve and you're starting to do different things, you really want that versatility. Like mine's a multi-process, and I do have a certain amount of control. It is very nice. You can't really do aluminum. Like, you really need a proper welder, like, you know, TIG, aluminum TIG capable welder that really just does TIG and aluminum. You kind of have to splurge for that if you're going to be doing a lot of aluminum. Some of the aluminum stuff that you can do, you can just, it's like brazing. You can just, I have aluminum rod. I've successfully fixed my air compressor piston that got a hole in it when it sucked a screw in, and I've done a whole bunch of work with just oxyacetylene, you know, and a small tip and practice. I think some of these can even use like a MAP gas, you know, the new version of the MAP gas and a turbo torch. So this they have stuff out. When I first started welding, they didn't have all of these various things out there, and you had to be a good welder because you had to overcome a lot of things. Listening to some of the fellas talk about when they started that are older than me, that go way back, right? And what they were developing when they were starting out is like crude to today's standards, but it was advanced. Things have come a long way, for sure. And the prices have dropped, except for more recently. Brett says, I held the Hercules in my hand and I liked it. Yeah, 1/2 inch, 20 volt brushless. Yup. Yeah, you want the 1/2 inch, definitely. Yeah, it feels good. I have a Chiquita bananas, not Milky's though. Brett says, and charger for under $100. Totally worth it. Even just as another drill to grab with chucked up with something different. It's totally worth it. Now that I have the two, and my daughter and her fiance bought me another little machine too. Hold on, what does Big Mike say? Big Mike says, good thing we don't have smell-o-vision. Yeah, oh yeah. Sad. We'll have it soon. Don't worry. Yep, that's next. All right. Drill jokes messed up. Bleach says, my heat light will barbecue the mouses nest in the future. It's a well done mouse nest. I want one of Robbie threw out. I'm like, Robbie, he threw out his Weller. He tried selling his Weller soldering iron, and I don't know if he sold it or threw it out. I'm like, why'd you throw it out? I bought one of those cheap Harbor Freight ones. It's not big enough. That's actually very good, by the way. Those old Weller Insta-On soldering irons for doing tractor wiring and, for these machines that we work on. Like, for example, tractors, small tractors, lawn and garden, whatever, and you've got a bunch of wires to fix. That's a great welder for that. I need new tips, but it's an older, like, Harbor Freight or Chicago Electric or something like that. I'm like, I can't find the tips. I can only find the tips for Weller, and they're too big for this smaller gun. I find that coat hanger wire works better. You just bend it up, and you crimp the end, and if you want, I tried using solder on it, but one time I tried using a little weld on the end of it and then grinding it. I think that worked about the best. I put a little weld on the end and made a little, like the anvil part, whatever you would call it, where you grind it and you make the flat, and then that's what you tin. And that worked okay, but that takes effort, Yeah, I want the old Weller one. They still sell them, right? eBay and shit, vintage versions of it. Everybody had one. Let's see. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. $5 and not the Subway footlongs. Just why? Yeah, it's not $5 over here. Brett says, that would be called you sniff. Yes. Whatever he says, because I still have, you still have your well. I thought you said you got rid of it. Bleach Multiverse. I'm getting one forgot solder iron. What? You getting a soldering iron? I have a big, it's like 60 watt soldering iron that I use for a lot of it. But the problem with that is that you got to let it heat up and then it's on and it stays hot for a while. If I just want to solder a couple of wires and I want the thing to cool down and be safe and not forget that I left it on, those welders are really nice for that. And they used to have a little light too in the end. They're safer. They heat up quick. You do what you got to do and you're done. And really for wiring, it's nice to have. I mean, if you're not going to sit down and do a whole bunch of wires in a row. Let's see, Matt says, we had a Lincoln twin cylinder Onan engine welder plus a generator combo back in. Yeah, those are nice. Back in what? Back in the day. No, I didn't see the rest of it. All right, what time is it? Where are we? I gotta take a piss. There's always something. Oh, there's the time. All right, hour 32. We're good. We're at the hour 32 mark. So let's can it. We'll leave it here. And hopefully you'll see you guys next week. If not, if I don't see you through the week, then I'll see you through the window. That's creepy, Arch. I know it is.